Hey guys, it's Mandy Edwards with Emmy Marketing Services for another episode of Social Media Q&A. This week the question posted was, does having a certain number of fans and followers, does that make an impression on your clients? And I would garner to say probably. When someone's looking to use you, whether it's for social media or something online, they want to see what you're doing yourself, what type of following you have. If I was a business looking to hire a social media consultant and there were two in front of me, one had about 1,000 Facebook fans and one had about 30 Facebook fans, to me, I would take the one with 1,000 fans because that would show that they know what they're doing and they've got people that think they're worthy enough to follow. And same with Twitter. Now, of course, what's come out recently is that a lot of these Twitter accounts with thousands and millions of followers, most of them are fake. So that kind of puts a whole spin on things. That, if you go to someone and they have 10,000 followers, but you also need to look at who they're following. If they, follow about 9,000 and they have about 10,000 following them, it's pretty legit. And there's websites that can check that out anyway. And most of that pertains to politicians and celebrities. But I do think that does come into play. Whether you are a coach online, whether you're a business coach, a life coach, a mental health coach, or a eating disorder coach, someone's looking to, online to possibly use you, they are going to look at, your social media platforms and accounts and see what they, what's going on. And usually the higher the numbers, it kind of shows you're more of a, I don't like to use the term expert, but you're more knowledgeable in your field and you're someone who is worthy of, checking into. Now, not to say that there's some great people out there with not a lot of interaction, because there are some really good ones that just really are not doing social media. So you've got to really be careful. A lot of fans and followers do help in the sense of things, so that shouldn't be the sole decision in why you pick somebody. But to answer the question, yes, it does make an impression when someone looks and says, oh, she's got 3,000 followers on Twitter, or oh, they've got, look at that, they've got 12,000 likes on Facebook, which is great. But I think it does pay, people do pay attention to that. So we always need to be aware of what's going on. And that kind of all goes back to, if you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. No one's going to be, ignore their business for their clients. They need to basically, keep up with theirs too. So that's my answer to that question. But on every Tuesday, my Facebook wall is open for you to post your social media questions for me to answer on Thursdays. And if you ever have anything in the meantime, just message me. I'd love to, help you out as best as I can. But I will see you guys next week. Thanks.